Thank you, Seth. Welcome, everyone. This presentation is specifically around 2002 release and what's new as part of that release. As you might have guessed, we have moved away from our earlier release versions, which used to be 8.7, 8.8, and 8.9 series. And now we have started with a new versioning system, which is 20.02, where 20 stands for the year and 02 stands for the month of that year when the features get released. So this is the first release in that format which I've done, and it was a major release which was done. And let's deep dive into what exactly was changed. Before that, let's get to understand what are we going to have. So we are going to have what were the highlights of the product. There are more changes which has happened to the product. You can take a look at the documentation and to get further understanding, but these are the top features which we have picked and chosen for this meeting. Then we are going to have a short demo, and then we are going to share the important links which can be used for you later, like documentation and the communities link. So first of all, we have completely modernized the user interface for TrueSight network automation. With the product in market for so long, the user interface was not up to the mark. So this time we had made an effort to modernize the complete UI. So if you see, a lot of pages have the smart search available, multi-delete available. So a lot of investment was done for 2022 release to make the interface more usable. The next, along with the user interface modernization, we have done the drill down dashboard is available. So earlier the dashboard was a matrix based. Now we have 4 kind of dashboards which are available as a visits: discrepancy, compliance violation, devices with most compliance violation, and recently failed job. We are going to take a look at all these dashboards in the demo. And there was an idea behind it. For example, for recently failed job, that was one of the action which a user would do when user first logs into the system. The person would like to log into the system, identify which were the jobs which failed, and would re-trigger those actions. So those were some of the ideas which were the thoughts which were put inside when we started redesigning our dashboard. The next one which we did in this release was simplified installation. And what does that mean is, earlier when you used to install a TrueSight network automation or upgrade, there was an option to provide the integration for UTDI, for TrueSight orchestration, and third-party products. So sometimes what used to happen is, while user is installing this the product, they don't know which the URLs for other third-party systems in place. And that's why we just removed that, so that the installation, the first step or the upgrade, can be simplified, and later, using the system parameters, user can specify all these external integrations in place. The next one was capability to sync Ldap and Active Directory users. This is one of the most voted idea on communities. So we implemented this, and how we have done this is, there's a utility which is provided which can sync the Ldap groups to the roles in TSNA. So you'll create the roles in TSNA, and if TSNA identifies the matching group name in Ldap system, it can automatically sync the user. The next one is related to support for importing vulnerabilities advisory from Nvd Json format. So Nvd in the past used to provide a format which was in XML. Recently, which was in, I think, August 2019, Nvd has stopped supporting XML format. So if you would like to import the vulnerabilities into the system and would like to see which devices in your environment are vulnerable, there was no way of doing it. So we converted the XML's format to the JSON format. So now when Nvd information is available in JSON format, you can import it to the system. So make sure that you select the right format while you're going through the security vulnerability, while you're importing the vulnerability, so that you get the right information over here. The next is multi-delete OS image. So this is one of the feature where you have a list of OS images, and then with time, the older OS images you don't want to keep with the system. So earlier there was an option to delete the older OS images, but it was one OS image at a time. But but the ask was, can I delete multiple OS images at a time? And that was a feature which was added as part of this release. And since we were anyways modernizing the UI, this is one of the features which was taken up. Along with that, if you're looking for any other page where you would like to have the multi-edit or multi-delete option available, to let us know via email, and we can take a look if that can be implemented as well. With that, we keep on updating the platform support and the database support, which are latest in the market. So as of 2002 release, which is February 2020, the latest versions which are available were Microsoft Windows Server 2019 and Red Hat 8.0. So those two versions are supported now, and with the next major release, whenever it comes up, we keep on continuing looking at the versions of the platforms available, including the databases. And if there's any one new database or new platform which is available, we keep on updating the supported platforms. And the last one which is mentioned over here is REST API. And so the REST APIs are available. Version 3.0 was available earlier. Now version 4.0 is also available, but it's in beta. So what does that mean is, if you really want to use it, do get in touch with us. We can help you. So now it is 100% REST API. So any function which you can do from UI, you should be able to have you should be able to execute via REST API, including executing reports, including adding device, deleting device, executing jobs, etc. Anything. So since all the functionalities are available, we have kept it as a beta version for now. So if you would like to use it, do get in touch with us. We can help you in choosing the right APIs which you can use to add on the automation which you would already be doing as part of your regular integration. So some of the use cases where you would be using REST APIs is via, if you have any orchestration tool in place, you would like to use TSNA to REST APIs to call TSNA from the orchestration, and other integrations, like if you would like to have integration with monitoring tool or digital workplace, any tool where you would like to have an integration, the REST APIs come handy. And that is the intention behind developing the REST APIs for all the features which are available from the UI. The item which is not mentioned here is the TrueSight Smart Reporting integration. So TrueSight Smart Reporting was released during November 2019. The Smart Reporting is used for historical reporting, and so earlier the reporting tool which we used to have is BDSNA, which was SAP Business Object Based. Now the new reporting solution is simpler and lightweight compared to the older version. And if you would like to have access to the historical reporting, the Smart Reporting would be the solution which you would like to have. The 19.11 version of TSNA DW, which stands for Data Warehouse, is available for consumption with 2002 release. I'll take a pause to take any questions sets which are there on the chat box, or anybody would like to take to ask any question.
No questions, but your mention of smart reporting, maybe it would make sense for us to do a smart reporting session for TSNA at some point in the future.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, wait, something just popped up. Scotty points out, he says, we're using SAML authentication, which is working after some trial and error, but the API no longer works. We're hoping the new version will be split from the web interface so that each can be configured with separate authentication methods. I guess that's more of a comment.
For SAML, actually, for SAML, the thing with that was that SAML only allowed a UI login, and then for the other authentication, we had to use another method. So there is a slight change coming in how we are gonna authenticate with SAML. So we'll bring that out as we move along with the next release.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have plans to bring it back, yeah.
Okay, good. Jeremy asks, for smart reporting, are you still requiring BSA and BNA to be on the same version to have an integrated solution?
Actually, for smart reporting, at least from the BNA side, I would say that you can be on different versions. So right now, for example, the smart reporting solution has only 19. There is a version that came 19.3, which for in November last year, and that version can still be used with 2002 network automation. So we are doing some backward compatibility. But having said that, in the future, I mean, we will be restricting it to only a few releases. So there would be a point in time where you will have to upgrade to, to satisfy that. So
sure, yeah. There's a minimum viable version for smart reporting just because of the nature of the implementation. Okay, a question it's a comment from Tim. He wants to see a demo on how to import Nvd Json files. Is that going to be?
I'm going to do that right now.
Okay, great. That's coming up. Tim, that's coming up. Scotty, again, when will the dashboard include vulnerabilities?
Sure.
Scotty, I think we'll need to discuss that because we'll need to know what type of vulnerabilities and how we want to display that. So we'll take that offline and get back to you so we can have more details on it.
Okay, and then Vincent asks, is the version REST API 3.0 that comes standard with PSNA 2002 the API that exposes all features from the UI, or is that another REST API version?
Actually, Vincent, the new REST API version isn't released yet. So the API 3.0 was the same as the last one. So we still have to have backward compatibility. So no, there is a new version which we haven't exposed yet. But as I said, that is a beta version. So as Meeta said earlier, so yeah, please do send us an email and we will discuss with you what use cases are there, because we've gone to the system wherein the REST APIs are REST API first. So everything in the UI is now a REST API as well. So there are many things that have been added. But yeah, we're controlling the release a bit because there are a lot of them. So.
Yeah, so Vincent, reach out to us and we'll get you in communication with Meeta, and you can talk through that. Ramon asks, import vulnerabilities will be functionality integrated into TS Automation Console / Helix Remediate. So
at this moment, Automation Console and Helix Remediate does not have an integration with network automation. Meeta can shed some light, but it is there in the roadmap to add in the future.
Yeah, and the difference between that one and the TSNA core capability is there you get the vulnerabilities imported from the scanners like Tenable, Nessus, and Qualys. And in TSNA, the mapping of the vulnerabilities happens to the rule, and this is more about remediation. And the Helix integration, which will happen in future, or which was there with TSM in the past, is mostly about this importing the information from scanning. So there's a difference between what Automation Console tool does compared to what the TSNA does, and that's the difference. So scanning, TSNA do not import the information from the scanners. We import information from NVD so that we can keep our rules ready for the remediation. So the TSNA is the remediation tool. Yeah, go ahead.
What you're saying, Meeta, just to get some clarification for everybody, is with Helix Remediate or with server automation, vulnerability management, the data about vulnerabilities is pulled in from security scanning tools like Nessus and Qualys and those kinds of things. But for network automation, the vulnerability is pulled directly from the NVD database, and it's not something that comes from the scanning tools. Is that correct?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Thank you for clarifying.
That also combines the data which is already there in TSNA. So TSNA also has, environment information and more details inside it. So,
sure. Yeah, we're just making that the vulnerability data comes from different places, which is why the integration for a unified view is different. It's not all coming from the same tools.
Correct.
Yep. Okay. That's all that I see. So why don't we go ahead and move on to the next thing? Are we going to do a demo?
Yeah, let's move on to the demo.
I will make Sumeet the presenter.
Thank you. Okay, I am sharing my screen. Let me know if you can see the screen.
Yep.
Okay. So thank you for this. Thank you, Meeta. Thank you, Seth. And with this, I'll get started with a little bit of a demo. So initially, we're going through the dashboards. One thing to note is that, I mean, this is our first cut on the dashboard. So we would actually like your feedback on this, and whether you want to give it on this platform or whether you want to send us an email. And we would like to discuss more widgets and more things that you would like to see on the dashboard. So with this, I'll get started. This is the new 2002 release, and oops. And I hope I can log in. Yes. So this is the new dashboard. There is a difference than we used to have in the older dashboard, but the new one now has discrepancies, compliance violations, and it also gives you a list of the most compliance violations down here. But an additional feature which we've added is the recent failed jobs. All these things are what we call as drill downs. So if you want to see that, which all devices have more discrepancies, they would come into the system as soon as you click over there, and it is page style, so you can go in different pages and look at it. The same thing is available for, devices without discrepancies, and you'll see the list as well. The same information is available for the compliance violations. So how many of them have compliance violation, the name of the device, which one they belong to. We are planning to add more details into this, but we would like your input in understanding what information can be added more. Like, in sometimes, like in discrepancies, we would want to see whether it's running versus startup or something like that. So we would like a little more details on what you would like to see in this particular widget. Initially, we just started with this. Then the other thing which we have is the compliance violation. So we've got the compliance violation details, and we can just, click on a particular device and look at the different, the rules that it violates along with the severities. And you can actually filter these rules and have a look at, what the details are of these things. So these are all, drill down reports. The other thing which we have is the failed job report. Now, this failed job, you can just click on this job and it'll go to the job and give you the failed status and what problems there were. So it's just a very simple thing that, you may want to have. This might be useful when, you come in every day, you have a policy that's failing, or you ran a job which was supposed to finish overnight, and you would want to see, whether it has failed or not. So this is something just to get an idea that, what are the most recent failed jobs that are there in your system. So you'll get a list of these jobs right here. So this is one of the features that was there. The other one, which was the Nvd Json Input. So one of the things is that, as Meeta said earlier, that Nvd stopped releasing the XML format. So they have already started releasing the JSON format, which they've been doing it for some time, but they just stopped doing the XML format completely. The reason why we went into XML was because we already had a format for Cisco CVRF, which was already an XML format. So it was very, it was like, we had a one single format for both these for the NVD as well as for Cisco. However, with NVD changing that, we had to switch into the new format. So within the system, not much has changed. We still go to the network admin and have a look at the importers. Now we have an additional importer called as import advisories from Nvd JSON file. So this is a new importer that was there. So there was the XML file, and now we have got the JSON file. So it's just one more, importer added into the system. And yes, of course, it is still customizable. So you can export it out, make some changes, and customize it a bit. So it's still customizable. That's there. From the import vulnerabilities, all you'll have to do is go to the security vulnerabilities and click on import. Select the correct format, which is the JSON format. So nothing much has changed, just the name of the file, and then you can decide which type of vulnerabilities you would like to import, like 2020, 2019, and all these things, and click import. That's it. That's how you would import vulnerabilities. And then the rest of the steps are the same. You can still generate the rules. You can still generate all the other things. So have a look at these. There are already so many vulnerabilities for 2020, which are already released in the system. And they've been added over here. So that is what I had for this one. And then one of the other demos that was there was... Yes.
Before you go on to the next thing, since we got a break, John had a question back about the dashboards. I just want to ask it. And he says, is there no drill down from the device tables under the dashboard lists? It would be good to get the discrepancy and compliance issues from there like the previous version did. I don't know if that's something you didn't show. Do you understand what he's asking?
Yeah, actually, the drill downs are not there yet, but yeah, this is something which we've been discussing, wherein to have, that we can go directly into the reports. There is one thing that we've got here is that we haven't removed the policy. We haven't removed the report. So we still have what we call as a discrepancy summary report, which gives, which is similar to the dashboard report that we used to have. So it's there, but it's being moved to the reporting section rather than over here. However, the compliance violation report looks a bit different. So that is going to be one of the changes that has happened. But yes, we would like to take your feedback on this and have a lot more discussion on what you would like to see on the dashboard. So this is something which we're still working on.
Okay, so John, maybe you see the previous response there. It's got Meeta and Sumeet's email. I'd love to have a more efficient way for us to communicate using communities or something like that, but let's get you part of the conversation about what you're interested in seeing in the dashboard and how you'd like to see the workflows go. We'll do that. Hey, Sumeet, quick question then about the importing the JSON file as well.
Correct.
Sorry.
Not hey Sumeet, not hey Siri. Tim has tried to use the JSON. Okay, it says he's figured it out. Never mind.
Yeah.
He says do not use the modified JSON file. You want to use, I guess, the original JSON file from Nvd. Otherwise, you get an exception error. Okay.
Yeah, I think the format of that is a bit different. So it's like CV modified. So what we would say is not to use this one, use this one.
Yeah.
TSNA has the capability of recognizing the modified CVE and which is the same. That is, it can skip ones that are exact duplicates and add, modify the ones which have been updated and add new ones. So all you have to do is take the CV 2020 and don't worry about the other ones.
Yep. Okay. Thank you for that clarification. Sounds like that's exactly the issue he had. All right. Sorry to interrupt. On to the next.
No problem. So with that, the last thing that I wanted to show you is how to do the Ldap Sync. For that, I have another TSNA server just because, I didn't want to put it in one particular server. In this case, what we need to do is we need to make sure a few things are in order, which is like the roles in TSNA. So you would still define a role in TSNA. Like in this case, I've defined a out-of-box role as manager, but you can define your own roles, as you know. And you have to make sure that this particular role actually exists as a security group in your Active Directory. So you have to make sure that this role exists as an Active Directory in the system. So if you would see that, the same name should be there. Now, you may say that you might be using some of these names for some other operations. You can still edit these roles. So even if these are out-of-box roles, you can still edit them and put a new name there. So you can make those changes. Then to have a look at the users, I just wanted to give you an idea that there is a user called as manager1, which has a role of manager, which is already added into the system. However, in the Active Directory, I have two users, manager1 and manager2. Now, the manager2 is not yet added because I haven't added it to the manager role. So all you have to do in Active Directory is add the user. Just added the user over here. And there is a new script which we've created, which is called as Ldap user import. So the Ldap user import, like all our scripts, they're in the BCA Networks Tools directory right here. And the way to run the script is to pass in the script, the username that needs to log into TSNA, and the password. So the TSNA username and password, the reason for this is that it needs to create a user and add permissions to it. So it should have a user that has the rights to create the user. So you have to pass in the username and password. And all you have to do is just these, the name of the script, the username and password. Those are the inputs, and you can just, within a few seconds, it is going to add it. So it found out that the difference was only manager2. Manager1 was already added into the system. So it did create the user manager2 and added the role manager to it. So if you go back to TSNA and you can refresh the screen, you would now see that manager2 is added and the role has been added. So it'll just update these things and, add the user, update the user, and things like that. And so any questions or anything? I can also try repeating it.
Yes, we have a question from Jeff. Does the Ldap Sync support using groups?
Groups, are you talking about organization units, or are you talking about, this is actually based on security groups.
Active Directory groups, AD groups.
Yeah, this is an Active Directory security group. So Active Directory has three different things. Active Directory has organization units, and Active Directory has distribution groups and security groups. It is connected to security groups. So you have to match the name of the security group with the name of the role in TSNA. Only then it's going to work.
Okay.
And yeah, if you remove the if you remove the role, it will also delete the user as well. So removing the role, updating the role, and all those things are possible in the system as well.
Let me just make sure. It looks like that's everything. So Meeta, Sumeet, anything else you want to add?
No, thank you for joining. Thank you, sir.
No, thank you for joining.
Thanks everybody for joining. This is a small but mighty community of users, and we really appreciate the engagement and activity level. Meeta is unique amongst, or I should say preeminent amongst our product managers in her commitment to staying focused on customer needs through the communities portal. So please do take advantage of ideation. Please get in there and comment, share your best practices with your other users, and know that Sumeet and Meeta and I are very active in paying attention to what you guys have to say. All right, with that, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. Thanks, everybody. Please stay safe. And if you're stuck at home like us, stay sane also. And we'll see you in the next session in a couple weeks. All right, take care. Bye.
Everyone, bye.
Thank you. Bye.